Welcome back to Blues Phrasing in A Minor, Part 2, the Melody. So I've written this specifically to be in the key of A minor, but to target certain chord tones. So in other words, any note you land on and stay on is going to be found inside of the chord itself. Now, you want to be familiar with your A minor pentatonic. If you're not familiar with that scale in the 5th position, then you can get that also at Walker Guitar in the scales section. But just very quickly, looks and sounds like this. I'm at the 5th fret, and I'm playing in position, which means that each finger is assigned its own fret space. So in the 5th position, it would look like this, where you go first, pinky, first, third, first, third, first, third, first, pinky, first, pinky. Okay, so that's the stock scale, and the idea here is to start to give, as a soloist, give some direction to the solo, instead of just trying to noodle around in the scale over chord changes and hope that you land on notes that are going to sound good. It's more the idea of trying to follow the chords themselves, while also keeping in mind the scale as framework for ideas. So as we land on notes and the notes that we kind of stay on, they're points of resolution because they're found inside of the chords that are in the rhythm guitar. And that's also part of why I made this a 2-part lesson, so you would learn the rhythm. Because hopefully you'll start to see how the melody is actually choice chord tones. So let's just take this phrase by phrase. The first little bit sounds like this. You're going to go... So that little idea, you're gonna hammer from 5 to 7 on the D string. By the way, I should have said this earlier. The tab is available at walkerguitar.com. You can get this there and print it out and follow along at home as you run this lesson. So that'll make everything a lot easier. So one more time, the starting phrase is like that. Now you're going to have to roll your first finger from string to string, or it's going to start sounding like, and you're going to get a lot of extraneous noise. You want to get used to kind of fretting the D string on the tip of the finger, and then as you roll to the G string, you're sort of in the middle, and then you hopefully with a little bit of work you can even roll a little bit farther and roll kind of off of one string and onto the other and land at the second string. So that's the idea. You want to have all these notes separated at all times as if it's a melody that's being sung. And then if you can, add a little bit of vibrato to that. That's a whole separate lesson that I'm not going to get into, but the idea is to kind of shake the note lightly. I pull down in a semicircle connected here, and you're just giving the note some energy, trying to make it sound like a singer's vibrato. Okay, that's the very first phrase. The second little bit, and this is all over the same chord. You're going to hit 6 on the B string, pull off to 5, kind of roll over to 5 on the G, back to 5 on the B. That's kind of your opening phrase. Okay, now our next little piece, actually I think I played that different. Our next little piece is leading into a D minor. That's why we're landing. Our final note is here because it's found in the bar chord. Actually, it's not found in the D minor 7 I gave you in the rhythm. But if you were to play a regular D minor chord, it would be found in that. My bad. So anyway, the melody itself is 8 on the B string, pull off to 5. And you kind of roll over again, and you land on 7. Little vibrato if you can. And then a higher idea, which is going to be the same pull off, but on the top string. Rolling over to the B string. So that's a 2-part idea over the D minor. Okay, and then to resolve back to A minor, we're actually going to jump out of position a little bit, just to keep the hammer-ons or the pull-offs consistent, so that, you know, they're always the same in the melody. We're going to go back home to A minor. So that's on the G string. And then we resolve down to 7 here, which is a home tone of a natural A minor bar chord. Okay? And then we add a little bit more, kind of a response phrase to that. If you're just hammering on the A string, you're skipping a string. That's G string, landing on your D string. Okay, now the music is shifting up to E minor, depending on either E minor 7 or E bar chord. Oops, that's our next little phrase. That note's part of the chord, landing on there. And there we're sliding from 9 to 10. Down to 7, we stay on 7, because that's now a D minor chord. That 7's part of the D minor. So let me run that again for you. If I can. And then we do the same lick we did earlier, because we're coming back to A minor, the string skipping lick. Okay, and then over our E7 sharp 9 chord from the rhythm, we have a little run, which is kind of nice and dark. Sort of pulled from harmonic minor, but I just couldn't help myself. So this, you could play this however it feels best. I kind of like staying in position. 6, 7 with the third and the pinky. That's just kind of a run. Well, sometimes I'll use those two fingers too. It kind of depends. Yeah, I kind of like that better actually. But, you know, I'm different every day on that. And then you, if you're going to loop it, you start back over. So keep in mind, the beginning of the phrase, the very first phrase, comes before the loop actually starts. So I have the loop on the pedal here. I'm going to play it, and then you'll kind of see what I mean. So the fourth note, the note you hang on, is actually when the loop begins. Right there.